Well, hello there again. Yes, I've been scavenging on eBay a little bit and found this old stereo for free. Just was given to me, I just had to pick it up, and I didn't pay anything on it. The seller told me that it doesn't work, mostly because this thing uses the old DIN connectors, which I do actually kind of like, because you have one cable that carries two stereo audio signals. What I don't like though are these DIN connectors to hook up the speakers to, and he said it wasn't working or he couldn't actually test it because he doesn't have the proper connectors or speakers for this. We have some FM stuff which has been cut off, and this thing also has got a fuse. Tape deck on the top which doesn't open, mostly because the plastic thing in here is actually broken. You can just take that off and you can see that the clips in here have broken off, which is kind of usual for something this old, or maybe that hasn't been treated as well. We have a very nice, beautiful wood case. And let's take a look at the front. We actually have what I didn't even know until I realized it when I actually started taking this thing apart because the window is so dirty. Flip clock. Yeah, and it actually has I got an alarm built into it, which you can also set. Come on, focus. There we go. And you can also change the time. It doesn't seem that the flip clock is actually doing anything at the moment. Maybe it has to be either activated through a special setting or so, or the motor is just stuck or doesn't get any power. One of those. Maybe just needs a little bit of oil and contact cleaner. We have these connectors. Seemed like the regular 3.5mm jacks and a smaller one for the microphone. Strange. It says remote, but oh well. Headphone connector, of course, which seems to be missing the screw on it. No problem, I should probably have one of those lying around. We have, let's kind of actually turn this thing on, a big nice dial on here with view meters for recording to the tape recorder. And we have the volume for left and right, which isn't that nice, but okay. And we have the tone here to adjust bass and treble, which is all on one, which is strange. And of course we have all our different inputs here. Now the tuner does seem to work because it actually managed to find stereo stations still, at least in FM. There are not really any stations broadcasting in AM in Germany really anymore, so I'm probably not going to find anything there. Nice thing is this thing has a built-in AM antenna. Maybe at night time I can actually get some stations. I managed to pick up a few stations from Spain or so, because well, the AM travels a lot further at night, which is also kind of nice. And if you have a really good stereo with a large antenna in it, you maybe even be able to pick up stuff from overseas or so. Well, anyways, let's get into this thing. Alright, set aside. And as you can see, there's not that much really in here. It's a simple but yet clever design. Definitely not the highest quality in here. Main power transformer over there. We probably have the whole amplifier in here because we've got the transistors down there. Sadly no tubes in here. And here's all the stuff for tape and FM reception, or radio reception of course. Surprisingly, the light bulbs all still seem to work, which is actually surprising. I'm probably going to swap out the dial light with an LED or so. Oh, on the other side it's not working, so I'm definitely going to put some LEDs in there. And I'm probably also going to swap out the neon in here for either more neons or a bright orange LED, because that timer there is barely visible at all. Front panel should come off, but I would have to take off all the knobs on here. But first of all, let's actually plug some speakers in here and see if this thing works. Oh yeah, I have actually not tested if the tape recorder works. Let's set it to tape, and which one was play? Play is the one in that one, apparently. That seems to work. Maybe just need to be adjusted in speed. That's surprising. Usually Most of the issues were with the tape recorders on old stereo systems. Ah, yes, and we have a genuine bodge right there. And for those who are actually interested in who made this, well, all the info for that is here. So I've actually cleaned up the entire front panel just for now and taken off all the knobs in here. I also cleaned the windows, and damn, I tell you, these things were dirty as hell. I mean, you could barely even see the flip clock before, even if there was no light shining through it. Now you can actually see it again. Wow, so the neon can probably just stay in there like it is. It's now it's enough light through. And even the dial light, damn, that looks a whole lot better. But yeah. I'm actually gonna hook some speakers up to this thing. Unfortunately, I'm also all out of DIN connectors. I don't have any anymore because I pretty much upgraded everything to the lab type plugs, or the ones where you just stick the bare cable in, because the DIN connectors, I just don't like them for speakers themselves. Different when it comes to transferring audio signals. Oh, okay, so they actually put the screw on the inside, and there was no screw actually ever on the outside, looks like for the headphone connector. Oh well. Also, I'm gonna check how I'm actually gonna swap out that light bulb right there. LEDs would probably be the best. Could use some white ones. I've got some really tiny ones that should do just fine. That I can actually just glue to the piece of glass here. Yeah, that actually seems to be proper glass. Have to clean that as well. And yeah, I've got the whole thing unplugged. I'm gonna solder the speaker wires just on the connectors just for testing. And then also, if there's enough space in there, I'm probably also gonna add some laboratory type plugs, just so I have everything to my standard, how I usually do it. Alright, and we are now on the bottom side of this. The speaker connectors are right over here. Nothing too simple, just some cheapy DIN connectors. The other ones definitely look a lot more professional. We have some nice point-to-point soldering jobs in here. It's always nice to see the really old school ways of doing this. I'm not too sure really when this stereo here was made. Let's see if I can actually find a date code really quick. Kinda hard to tell. But at least they seem to use quality stuff in here. I mean, sure, it looks a bit cheapy, and it's definitely the cheap way of making circuit boards, but the components they used are actually quite decent. We have our output, of course, here, and it actually seems to be using audio isolation transformers, which is rare, really. Or maybe I'm wrong. Could be, could not be. And yeah, not sure if these are capacitors or relays. Damn, they are huge. And yeah, that's definitely an entire tuner section. And here's some more tape magic. See? No, can't seem to really find a date code on anything. Strange. Oh well. So I'm gonna solder the speakers to just these connectors right now, so I can test everything and see how it works. What I don't really like that much is, in order to select the proper speaker output, they just have these switches in here. Not too great, but oh well. It's a nice unit, but it's definitely not the most highest quality version. It's more like a regular consumer one. But oh well. It's still fairly decent. Alright, as you can see, I've plugged the thing back in, and let's actually give this thing a quick test and see if it works. Just gonna need this here as a reference so I actually know what I'm doing. So, power should be on or not? No, it was on. Audio for the left, can't hear anything, but I think it's also selected tape. Let's go with the radio. Oh. I really need one of the knobs. It's impossible to move those potentiometers. They're really stuck, and they're fairly old, so it's understandable. Oh, come on, go on there. It seems to be on, but nothing is really happening. Oh, there we go. I've found a station. Let's see. Still no sound. I could get some crackling once in a while from the thing, but now there is no sound at all. May have to investigate. Or this thing is just having some severe contact issues. Or there's an additional function that I don't know about. Alright, let's just go over to the tape. Get a cassette from somewhere. Put that in here. That will almost play. And nothing. Oh, we get some crackling action. Sometimes actually dropping the stereo bit can actually help with contact issues. Doesn't seem to be that though. Strange. Tape is definitely selected, and there is definitely some stuff on there. Try it out the side. Odd. I'm gonna try the other speaker connector and see what's happening there. There's probably also some severe contact issues with this thing, because I haven't cleaned up any of the potentiometers yet. But let's try the other side and see what happens. Alright, I got the speaker connected to the other side. Let's see what actually happens now. I can hear a high-pitched noise already. That sounds... oh god. Prepare yourself for ear rape. This could go horribly wrong. Yikes. Yeah, massive contact issues with this thing. Of course. As expected. Yep. Let's try the radio again, actually. Oh, that sounds good. I don't actually have the best reception in my building for FM radio, and of course it just has this cut-off piece of antenna hooked up to it. So, yeah. But as you can hear, it is actually managing to pick up some stations, which is good. Although it's not... although it's not doing the world's best great job at it. So yeah, at least I know that it kind of works. So now I can actually focus on first of all cleaning up everything in here and making sure that there are no more contact issues remaining. Oh yeah, and there's also a fun thing it does when you actually switch it off. Did that on the other side, it didn't do that on this side for whatever reason, but it made like a huge loud noise when it's just switched it off, also when it's switched on. So yeah, gonna get my contact spray out and clean up every single contact in here that's actually moving. And see if that actually helps. Should. And yeah, how do you actually clean contact issues like this? Well, I've shown it a lot of times, but once more, just get yourself some good quality contact spray. I'm using the WD-40 It works really well. So, just spray some into the contacts that seem to have issues. Like so. And then just switch it a few times rapidly. That should get rid of all the dirt and stuff and corrosion on the contact surfaces that cause all of these issues. And yeah, just continue that for all the switches as often and as long as you want to. Don't be afraid to use too much of it, because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the electronics or anything in a negative way. It really will just clean up all the stuff and then in the end evaporate. For the potentiometers, which are over here, which currently are the biggest culprits of contact issues, you have to somehow locate an open slot on them, and you can actually see that they are quite a bit corroded and dirty on here, even without actually cleaning it. You can just see that they aren't in that great shape anymore. Gonna do with this one here just to show it. Just aim at some place on the potentiometer that's open, spray some inside, and do the same. Just move it up and down, up and down, up and down. Quite a few times, and that should take care of all the contact issues in this thing. Oh yeah, and also make sure you clean the potentiometers on the circuit board as well, since these also seem to have a bit of corrosion on them. And yeah, pretty much anything, anywhere that's like a potentiometer, a switch, or whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, you get the idea. Alright, and after cleaning up all the contacts, which is pretty much the first thing you actually usually do on a device like this, let's give it a try, shall we? Everything should be on, switch it over to FM again, turn up the volume, which is that one. So as you can tell, that actually sounds already a whole lot better. You get a bit of this 50 Hz hum, and this is a bit of a high-pitched noise, but that's something I will probably take care of later. And maybe it's just because the whole device is not actually doing anything. Usually these humming noises just vanish when it's actually doing something. So yeah. For the knobs, well, I've just got them all in a container. I'm going to fill this with hot water and a lot of soap and just let them sit there for a while, and that should actually clean them up really good. After that, I'm just gonna wash them off and brush them off a little bit, and they should be super clean as well. Can't find where I put my tape though. I wanted to give that a small test as well, but can't seem to find it. Oh, there it is. Let's press play on this. So as you can hear, it's also working, which is nice, but there definitely seem to be some issues with the speed, that it's not maintaining it properly. Could be, again, some issues with the motor. I may have to swap that one out as well, or I just have to adjust it again, because it's also having some contact issues. Usually that. Then of course I'm going to take care of the flip clock and see what's going on here, because, well, as you can tell, it's not running. It's been at this the whole time, and I've had it on for like 5 minutes. Don't really dare to touch anything on it, because these things usually operate at mains voltage. So if you touch anything, it's always a good idea to pull out the cord and then check. Okay, it's not getting hot, so that at least means the motor also isn't shorted or stopped. Alright, as you can see, I've done a lot more cleaning up. I cleaned up the front panel where the dials and everything are, as well as the tuner and also the view meters for recording. And also replaced the broken light bulb with some LEDs over here. So if I say, Alexa, lights off. Alexa, lights off.
Okay.
There you can see how it actually looks in the dark. Pretty funky. Still gotta do it for that side, and also gonna swap the view meter to LEDs. Alright, some time has passed, and as you can see, I've made a lot of progress. the whole panel actually lights up really beautifully, and I've also replaced the light bulb in here with some yellow LEDs as well. And the way I actually got this so it doesn't flicker is I have 4 LEDs in here, and 2 of them are reverse polarity to the other ones, so meaning due to the fact that this thing runs off AC voltage, the LEDs will only get the high side of the sinus wave and not the low side, so that's why it starts flickering. So I have just others in there with the reverse polarity to the others, so meaning when one of those are on, the others are off. If the others are on, the first row is off. So that pretty much cancels out all the flicker. You can actually still notice if you look directly into that. And this is also the reason why I've got 2 LEDs where the view meters would be. And as you can see, they do actually still work. I'm not sure if I should replace the neon with maybe a little bit something a little bit brighter, because this thing doesn't light up that nicely. But I think I'm just going to leave it because, yeah, why upgrade that? I could actually add more neon, I have some bulbs left over. So, yeah, as you can see, I've actually managed to get the clock to work. As you can see, the motor down there is spinning. It was just kind of seized up, so it wouldn't spin properly. I just think that since the previous owner probably was a smoker and all the dirt and debris and yucky stuff in here, which was also pretty much preventing of looking through this window in here, has made such a mess in here that pretty much everything was full that could somehow move mechanically. I've also lubricated all the gears because they were dry and not lubricated at all in the first place. Just used some lubricant of my 3D printer, which is just some silicone grease. And yeah, looks really good now, especially with the front panel on and the wood case all on top. I will still need to get myself some wood finish or something like that. Or wood polish, actually. No idea how to call it. Don't have a lot of experience with wood stuff. But yeah, it's going to look really nice. Alexa, lights off.
Okay.
So yeah, looking really good. And the really nice thing is that the LEDs in here don't look out of place at all, which is really nice. Everything just still, whoopsie, sorry, still fits. And yeah, I'm probably just going to leave this with the neon. Because if this is as bright as that, it could maybe get a little bit annoying at night. Since I do actually maybe want to use this as like a proper stereo, or actually to wake me up in the morning, which is also what this thing offers, since it has an inbuilt alarm with the flip clock. Pretty cool with the small flip clock in here. Didn't even knew that it had one until I actually started to take it out and have a look proper at it. Pretty much just because the window was so freaking dirty. The stereo lamp in here is actually still a light bulb. Haven't replaced that one now. Probably just going to swap it out when it fails. No really need to do that now. And yeah, so far so good. Alright, now maybe as you remember, the lid of the tape mechanism was broken off and there was a piece of plastic missing. I could glue one of those back on with some resin, which worked really well. But the other piece I had to use some leftover printer for the other piece I just used some leftover printer raft, like this. I have a few of those lying around. Since it's quite hard material and actually serves very good for this purpose. So I just cut that to shape, put two above each other, and also glue the whole thing down with resin. Now for the mechanism, unfortunately the original spring was corroded so much that it wouldn't actually open the lid anymore. So I had to kind of improvise and drill a hole into one of the holders here and attach a big spring. And that actually works a whole lot better than the spring. I've actually tried to replace that with a different one that I had lying around and it just doesn't work properly at all. Whereas this works a whole lot better, as you can see here. So yeah, And it also doesn't conflict with anything in here, which is really good. So yeah, just have to clean that piece of plastic there, and then everything is pretty much back together. Alright, got the cassette mechanism reassembled and everything. Also replaced the belt in there, which is pretty easy to do. You just take the cover from the flywheel off and then just put a new belt in. And yeah. So now I've got this thing actually hooked up to that small oscilloscope right there. And I have got a tape which is labeled 1 kilohertz calibration tape. So that pretty much means all I've got to do is press play. Take a look at the oscilloscope over here. And tweak the speed of the motor until the frequency up there says 1 kilohertz. It's literally that easy to do. And done. You just adjust it with that small hole in here. Just take a flathead screwdriver, or an insulated one actually, which would be a bit better since the potentiometer on there actually may have power on it, and you would short it against the casing, which is grounded. But now we have this thing at about 1 kilohertz. It says pretty much as good as you can actually get it with this, since the tape motor doesn't run 100% smoothly, but it should now actually sound proper. Yay. Alright, so and we are almost finished with this unit. And yes, it's actually 1:10 in the morning. Got holiday, so I can stay up really late. Usually don't go sleeping before 5 or 6 AM, because I like to be up late at night. And yeah, as you can tell, I've actually used wood polish. I didn't actually have any proper wood polish, so I just made some of my own, which I found online, which is pretty much 1 cup olive oil and a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. And that actually turned out really well. The vinegar is the stuff that actually cleans the wood, and the olive oil is actually that gives the wood the nice and shiny look. So you just gotta let it dry now, and then it should be finished and look good. And it does look a whole lot better than I did before. Damn, this thing just looks awesome now. Alright, I'm actually putting the stereo entirely back together, have the front panel and everything nicely mounted on there. It looks really good, but currently I'm working on the bottom panel. And if we take a look at the bottom panel, of course here you have to put the screws in. But the problem is, if we take a look at these screws, yeah, these screws don't look very usable anymore. I mean, the threads are just really, like, fucked. Especially the threads in here also are pretty much destroyed. So what I kind of ended up doing is just grabbing a M3 size thread cutter and some M3 machine screws. And yeah, I'm just going to swap these out with those. Since, well, yeah. These screws also are a little bit more durable, and these wear out very fast, as you can see. Wow. But yeah, I've already cut all the threads in all the holes, and now I can put the screws back in. Yay! Alright, and the screws are all back in, and they fit properly and actually hold the bottom board on pretty well, which is good, because well, the original ones, they kinda didn't hold the bottom plate on, and there were screws actually missing. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this unit. And it looks freaking awesome now in comparison to before. Maybe I will actually add another coat on here just to make the wood really nice and shiny. But so far I'm really happy with the result actually. That looks beautiful.